Welcome to Africa Journal. I'm Donna Omulo in Nairobi. Here's what's coming up over the next half hour. In Uganda, a new bill threatens to further alienate the country's gay community as Burkina Faso spruces up its streets with a project that is also empowering women. And finally, a visual link to our early ancestors that may be disappearing in Libya. Being gay or lesbian in Uganda is illegal, and those who are risk being locked away for up to 14 years. Now, a new bill recently tabled in Parliament wants gay people to face even stiffer penalties and is proposing life imprisonment and even death sentences in some cases.
Pepe Julia Onziema and her partner, who asked that her identity be hidden, spend most of their time together indoors. They are a lesbian couple living in Uganda where homosexuality is against the law. Pepe is also a gay rights activist in Kampala and is openly vocal about her sexuality, and because of that, she is often victim to discrimination and harassment.
Myself, I'm at risk. I can't move on the streets, as I used to. I can't go to a shop. As, the normal or the relaxed kind of life has gone, I can't just go across and buy myself food. I have to go to particular places where I know that I will be safe. The reason why I moved this way is because I've been picked off the streets, detained for some time, ridiculed, intimidated, some money taken away from my wallet, and then they release me, they tell me, go.
According to Uganda's penal code, gays and lesbians can be jailed for up to 14 years for engaging in homosexual acts. Although no one has ever been convicted, a bill recently tabled in Parliament could push the jail term to life imprisonment and the death penalty for serial offenders and acts involving children. David Bahati, an MP for Uganda's ruling party, proposed the bill.
Homosexuality has become a huge issue in this country. We know that it's not our value, it's not Ugandan. It's a threat to our traditional family and the children of Uganda. But what is happening as we speak now, there's a lot of recruitment by foreigners into this behavior of homosexuality. There's a lot of promotion of people into using money to lure them into this behavior. So combining these two things, the deficiency within the legal framework to address it, the problem that it has become, we thought there's a need to have a consolidated law that will address this issue specifically.
The bill has the support of many Ugandans. Anti-gay protests like these have been used to raise awareness about the bill.
Africans unite against homosexuality. Africans do not be afraid of America. Africans don't be afraid of the West. Africans only fear God. Africans for God.
We are saying no to homosexuality and we are calling upon your support. Uganda say no. Homosexuality is not a human right.
The reaction from the West and human rights activists has been the opposite. Donors, who fund about a third of Uganda's budget, have been piling on the pressure to get leaders to shelve the bill.
When I was at the Commonwealth Conference, the Prime Minister of Canada came to see me. And what was he talking about? Gays. Prime Minister Gordon Brown came to see me. And what was he talking about? Gays. When I got to New York, when I was coming back, Assistant Secretary Coulson rang me What was he ringing me about? Somalia and gays.
The donor community have a choice. If they want to give us money so that we can support anal sex, we are saying to them that we cannot exchange our dignity with money. That we would rather stay with our values and you stay with your money. But also I'm aware that there is no international community, that countries that have been supporting us cannot withdraw money because of the issue of homosexuality.
We went out on the streets of Kampala to hear what ordinary Ugandans thought about homosexuality and the gay bill.
I don't see the reason why parliamentarians in Africa should waste taxpayers' money to debate about issues to do with it. To debate about sexuality, which is a bedroom matter. I think people are mature enough, they know what to do in their bedrooms, and it's a waste of time for parliamentarians to interfere with people's bedroom matters. And I don't believe that's right. There are more pressing issues in Africa to debate about, to legislate about.
If human rights activists allow firing squad, that's the best judgment for homosexuals.
Why do you want them to be taken out of such measures?
It is against nature, it is immoral, and it has no meaning. Even if animals are better than those people who are practicing homosexuality. Because for them, you never find a male going with a male, or a female going with a female. So animals are better than us, birds are better than us. Those people have become worse than beasts.
When homosexuality is supported, it means there will be a reduce in population, because I don't think that a man with a man can produce.
What many do not know is that the bill also targets straight Ugandans who will face up to 7 years in prison for withholding information about homosexuals.
The moment the public hears anything to do with homosexuality, you know they're just going to endorse. They won't even know what is going on about it, they will just endorse it. Because when you read through the bill, you realize that it's not just a homosexuality thing, you know? They are talking about, you know, mandatory reporting about anyone who knows. Now, like you who's here with me, you know that I'm homosexual. If that bill passes into law, you're supposed to tell the government within 24 hours that you know a homosexual. If you do not, you're imprisoned or fined a certain amount of money.
According to the International Lesbian and Gay Association, the African continent is still largely against homosexuality. It is illegal in 36 countries. South Africa is seen as the most tolerant. In 2006, it became the first African country to legalize gay civil unions. The constitution protects gays from discrimination, and same-sex couples are even allowed to adopt children. In Malawi, one gay couple has grabbed international attention lately. Tiwonge Chimbalaga and Stephen Monjenza were arrested after they married in a traditional ceremony in December last year. Homosexuality is banned here and carries a maximum prison sentence of 14 years. Most Malawians condemn homosexuality. Many went on the streets and jeered at the couple as they were taken to a mental hospital for tests.
Good day, Antua. I think you're going to express that my rights are.
Actually, these guys are expressing their rights. We need not to blame them. I see nothing wrong. But because this is new in our country, then everyone is condemning and seeing this as unacceptable.
Back in Uganda, at the Makerere University, Pastor Martin Semper is giving a sermon at Sunday service. He's known to use his sermons to preach against homosexuality. Although he is a strong supporter of the anti-gay bill, Sempa says he is not homophobic.
I don't like the word homophobic. I'll use another word. We're not homophobic. And I will not, and I resent the fact that you say Ugandans are homophobic. Homophobic comes from the word fear of homosexual, an irrational, paranoid fear. We are not afraid of homosexual. We detest homosexuality. We find it repugnant to us. So we don't have irrational fear. We are people whose culture, whose laws, whose faith, and whose understanding of nature finds homosexuality to be repugnant. We're not homophobic, and I find that as an insult.
Uganda's anti-gay bill goes into its second reading in February. Lawmakers may soften the punishment, but they maintain that homosexuality is a crime. For lesbians and gays across the continent, the fight to practice their sexuality freely will go on, and as they raise the subject of their rights again and again, they hope that society will one day recognize them and accept them for who they are.
There's a lot of garbage on the streets of Ouagadougou, so the city's mayor came up with a solution that has not only helped remove rubbish from the streets, but has also changed the lives of a group of women. Let's find out more.
In Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, the Green Brigade is already up and working along Kwame Nkrumah Street as the rest of the city sleeps. Every Monday and Thursday morning, small teams of 4 to 5 women clean up the roads here and gather garbage ready for collection. Madame Damen Kabore is in charge of this team and has been with the Green Brigade for 15 years.
When we started out, we were not taken seriously by people and our husbands, other wives. They said that we were ex-convicts who had just been released from prison, sabotaging our work left and right. But we didn't care much. We worked, and now it's considered a regular job.
The Green Brigade was started in 1995 by Ouagadougou's mayor to help widows and single mothers earn an income as they keep the city clean. The group recruited 15 women, but with time the number has grown to a team of 1,700 sweepers. The project is funded by taxpayers' money. Cleaners who work along the main roads try to finish up by 8 a.m. to avoid the rush hour traffic and risk of road accidents.
The work is not really difficult. Accidents do happen, that is true, but not really serious ones. It's also true that it's very dusty, but we can't do much about that. The City Hall organizes visits to a lung specialist to take care of our health.
The Green Brigade has received many accolades for its work both at home and abroad. Mamadou Sidi Sise is the Director of Cleanliness in Ouagadougou.
Africité obtenu à Yaoundé.
The Africité Award was obtained in Yaoundé in 2003. Among 15 countries, the town of Ouagadougou came first due to the activities carried out by the Green Brigade. The second award was obtained in 2006 in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai, titled the Dubai International Award for the best practices towards improving living standards. We only have one mechanical sweeper for the entire town of Ouagadougou. If we introduced advanced machines better equipped to clean the city, it would render the women jobless.
Most residents here are happy to have the group work in their city.
I feel that these women do all that they can to make sure that the town is very clean, and really, that's something we ought to applaud. Getting up early in the morning when you have a family to take care of, to clean up the streets and collect garbage is something really commendable.
These women do a great job. We would encourage them to continue because the town is more beautiful to look at and more interesting.
We would like to take it further. You can see that we don't have enough roads. Some streets are not paved, so during the dry season there is a lot of dust, which is our main problem.
When done at work, Madame Kabore makes her way home to a neighborhood in the outskirts of Ouagadougou, where she lives with her 4 children and 2 grandchildren. From sweeping, Madame Kabore earns about $3 a day. In addition, she makes soap for sale and does door-to-door garbage collection to help supplement her income. But her eldest son, Idrissa Damel, says that her job puts her in danger.
Le travail me plaît, en tout cas.
I'm happy with her work. The only problem is that I worry when she gets home late. Sometimes she gets home late in the night. Often she has to leave at 3 a.m. in the morning and head to the main street. There are robbers, thieves, that is what worries me. Other than that, it's a good job.
My husband died and left me with 5 children. At the time, none of them worked. They were not old enough. Some had to stop learning since we didn't have enough means to pay their school fees, so they dropped out. Now everyone takes care of themselves, and I manage as well.
Even though they may not be making much money, these women take their work very seriously because it helps pay the bills. By tidying up their city, they hope to inspire other residents to also clean up their surroundings and make their neighborhoods more pleasant to live in.
We break now but return with a story on how rock art is being threatened in Libya. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm Donna Omulo bringing you Africa Journal. Rock art gives us a glimpse into the lives and thoughts of our early ancestors. Some of the world's finest examples can be found in Northern Africa. In Europe, similar sites bring local communities and governments a healthy income. But in Africa, this rich heritage is being lost. The Sahara Desert, hostile, wild, and where few can survive these days. But this expanding mass of sand that stretches across northern Africa used to be lush forests and swamps. It was in this environment that early man first began painting and engraving rocks in order to communicate and show their way of life. Wandering through the National Museum in Libya's capital, Tripoli, David Coulson is waiting to meet the museum's director. David works for the Trust for African Rock Art, or TARA, a charity he started in 1996 to catalogue and conserve the continent's ancient rock art. He has recently returned from various rock art sites in the country, but brings back shocking news.
What we found was that sites which we had formerly surveyed and photographed ourselves on previous trips had been spray painted. In other words, somebody literally got from a shop some spray paint and had covered these paintings, some of which were 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 years old, covered them with modern paint, which means that they can never be repaired again. So this is a retrievable loss.
David has studied and photographed the continent's rock art for over 15 years. Working together with rock art specialist Alec Campbell, the two have been able to get a number of sites listed on the UN's World Heritage List in order to raise their profile and conserve them.
Rock art, what it does for us is it opens windows onto vanished worlds. In that this is so long ago, it's long before recorded history even began. But yet what we find in the rock art is that there was a great sophistication of artistic eminence even in those days, like 10 or 12,000 years ago. And rock art is a phenomenon you find in almost every country in the world. But I would say that Libya has probably the finest, Libya and Algeria anyway, the finest rock art that exists anywhere on earth, and some of the oldest. So it's very, very important.
But despite Tara publishing coffee table books and launching a website, many rock sites in Africa still remain unprotected. In the Sahara, harsh weather conditions and traders who remove the art for sale are an additional threat. While local communities living near the sites are being encouraged to protect the artwork in order to attract tourists, without resources, not much can be achieved. In Europe, rock art sites are now heavily protected, with governments promoting them as tourist attractions, one of the most famous being Lascaux in France. This original art has been closed to the public since 1963, after fungus started to grow on the paintings. Artists were commissioned by the French government at a cost of over $1 million to make a replica of the work, which now stands 100 meters from the protected original. These days, the site limits the number of visitors to 2,000 per day, each adult paying over $12 to enter. Back at the Libyan National Museum, David and Alec are discussing their findings and future projects with the museum's director, Fatia Al-Hassawi.
This is one of two mythical creatures which we always call amongst ourselves the fighting cats, and believed to be maybe 10,000 years old.
Prehistoric civilization, which includes rock art and rock carvings in different areas in the south of Libya, is very important because it tells of human history and civilization from a period in the past, from which all that remains are these artifacts. The drawings give us social portraits of the daily life of prehistoric humans.
The continent's rock art gives us an insight into how our ancestors lived and thought. Its value to our heritage and history is priceless. But its future will come at a cost. The only question is, who is willing to pay? A lot of people are still talking about the attack on Togo's national team by a rebel group called FLEC at the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. This week, some bloggers are just wondering how safe South Africa is to host the 2010 World Cup. Magic Wand writes, the obvious common chord between Angola, South Africa, and most, if not all, African countries is staggering corruption and poverty, the roots of all problems. Who's to say that copycats won't strike during the World Cup, even if their motives are different? Fans will be vulnerable no matter how much the South Africans beef up their security, and even one life lost will spell disaster for the World Cup. The Angola attack endangers both Africa's image and the World Cup. Another one reads, Africa is a continent, not a country, and it's unfair to label other people's mistakes on innocent people. Stereotyping makes us ignorant and mean. As much as African countries have to deal with some serious matters, they have rights and deserve respect. The debate is ongoing, and you too can have your say by going to blogs.reuters.com/Africa News or write in to africa.journal@reuters.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Next time on the show, women in Kenya make greeting cards out of beads to make a living. From me, Donna Omulo, and the entire Africa Journal team, thanks for watching and see you again next time.